conservatives who had over 100 seats in the parliament last time but are down to just 68. Turnout was 62% nationwide, according to the Interior Ministry of Iran. The election also saw voting for the Assembly of Experts, a body which is responsible for selecting the next supreme leader. Though the experts aren't split up by political alliance, they too appear to be heavily moderate and reformist. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. UPI reports U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas on Monday asked a question from the bench during oral arguments for the first time in 10 years. Thomas has had a reputation for staying silent during proceedings as other members of the court ask questions of attorneys to clarify statements. But on Monday, the first Supreme Court session after the death of Justice Antonin Scalia, Thomas was active and vocal. The case before the court was Voisin v. United States, a low-profile criminal case centering on the conviction of two men charged with domestic violence. The U.S. Supreme Court must determine whether a prior conviction of a reckless domestic assault qualifies as federal misdemeanor domestic violence, which disqualifies the men from possessing firearms. After Federal Solicitor General Ilana Eisenstein argued her case and took questions, Thomas asked how long the suspension of Second Amendment rights was for those prohibited by federal law to possess firearms and whether Eisenstein knew of similar cases. Although the matter under discussion was not a Second Amendment case, Thomas appeared to be defending the amendment, which demands no government infringement on the right to bear arms. Thomas has previously stated he regards the availability of the Supreme Court's question and answer protocol to be discourteous to the attorneys. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Google, part of Alphabet Incorporated, said on Monday it bears some responsibility after one of its self-driving cars struck a municipal bus in a minor crash earlier in the month. The crash may be the first case of one of its autonomous cars hitting another vehicle and the fault of the self-driving car. The Mountain View, California-based company said it made changes to its software after the crash to avoid future incidents. In a February 23rd report filed with California regulators, Google said the crash took place in Mountain View on February 14th when a self-driving Lexus RX 450h sought to get around some sandbags in a wide lane. The autonomous vehicle was moving at less than 2 miles per hour while the bus was moving at about 15 miles per hour. The report said the vehicle and the test driver believed the bus would slow or allow the Google autonomous vehicle to continue. But 3 seconds later, as the Google car in autonomous mode re-entered the center of the lane, it struck the side of the bus, causing damage to the left front fender, front wheel, and a driver's side sensor. Google said in a statement on Monday that we clearly bear some responsibility because if our car had not moved, there would not have been a collision. That said, our test driver believed the bus was going to slow or stop to allow us to merge into traffic, and that there would be sufficient space to do that. The Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority will investigate the circumstances of the incident. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
I mean, it's just so hard to believe that it's really all gone.
It was in this living room 3 weeks ago that the Talbot family discovered their DVR had suddenly and inexplicably crashed, deleting more than 5 years' worth of recorded live events and miniseries.
I keep having flashbacks to that day, to that moment when I realized everything was gone.
You know, you hear stories about people who mismanage their device settings, but you never really think it could happen to you. Honestly, it feels like some sort of a dream. Like, when I wake up, I'll be able to just go downstairs, turn on the TV, and all the episodes will be there again, as if nothing had ever happened.
Friends and family of the Talbots have pledged their support, organizing DVD donations and offering passwords to online streaming services while the family struggles to move on.
We know that we'll never be able to replace all the hours of programming that we had, but I think in the end we'll be just fine. As long as we have our 5 seasons of Seinfeld on DVD.
This is the Onion News Network. Talk Live, and it is Mark with you.
And Johnny Ray.
And James.
And not only is it Tuesday, but it's Super Tuesday.
Super Tuesday.
Yeah, we had Leap Day yesterday and Super Tuesday today. It's like ice cream with hot fudge sundae on it.
Excellent. I don't think Super Tuesday is that super, Mark and James.
Oh, okay. Well, they told me it was super. I was really excited about it. I'm not exactly sure what's so super about it, but I think I got carbon monoxide poisoning earlier today, so I suppose that was super. Other than that, I really don't know.
Now, how did you happen to do that, Mark?
I went into somebody's house with where the alarm had gone off for the fire department, and I was feeling lightheaded when I left. I looked up the OSHA rules, and I'd seen the meter, obviously, of what it was, and I wasn't even in an amount of carbon monoxide. It was 60 parts per million. The OSHA rules are it can't be over 50. I mean, there's people who work 8 hours a day in nearly the conditions I was in, and I'm like, oh, dear, I think I'm lightheaded.
Mark, speaking of firefighters, I saw a piece the other day talking about suicide amongst firefighters.
Oh, yeah?
And apparently it's a problem. And at first I didn't understand why, because firefighters, they're like heroes, and they're not going in and actually killing people, but I guess they see some horrible things.
I see things that bother me. I see things that bother me sometimes, and I would prefer that and I'm only a volunteer, so I've only been in a couple of situations, but
yeah.
there are things that I wish that I did not see, but I sort of look at it and I think to myself, why is it that bothers me so much when, for instance, I kill chickens and pigs? Those things don't really sit well with me either. Frankly, I'm a pussy. A wussy for all that stuff. I really should just dump that.
That's one of the great libertarian controversies about animals. Something that I have not really settled with yet. I've come to terms with completely. Right now, I'm a meat eater and I'm okay with it. But that's for another time. Not Super Tuesday. But about the firefighting thing. That's really curious that you yourself have had experiences like that, and you've been a volunteer firefighter for quite a while, but you live in a tiny town, so I just wouldn't have expected you to see anything really at all. If I had to guess, I would have guessed that you hadn't seen anything disturbing. Just the most disturbing thing being, a burned out husk of a shed or something.
Yeah, we've had fires and accidents and things like that, and stuff I wish I hadn't seen. But usually you can make yourself feel a little better that hopefully you were there, and hopefully your presence made things better. The question is the presence of the people running for president, is that making our lives better? I'm looking at the title here at Politico, and this is my favorite headline from the day. Rubio advisor preps donors for dismal Super Tuesday. If your top advisor is prepping your donors for a crappy turnout, what are you doing in the race, messing with the other candidates? I mean,
well, Super Tuesday is big, Mark, but it's not everything. So you could have a dismal Super Tuesday.
It's just half of everything, right?
It's half. We were just looking at this a moment ago.
It's 24% of the delegates. So,
of the total delegates.
That's right.
So approximately half of the total that you need to win is going to be decided tonight.
That's a pretty sizable number. That total is interesting. That title of that particular article was pretty good. But I love this one. Louis Farrakhan praises Donald Trump.
That's unexpected,
right? It's a story that just keeps on giving. It doesn't stop there. Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan praises Republican frontrunner Donald Trump for refusing donations from Jewish groups. Trump is the only member who stood in front of the Jewish community and said, "I don't want your money." Farrakhan said in a sermon he delivered this week, "Anytime a man can say to those who control the politics of America, 'I don't want your money,' that means you can't control me. And they can't afford to give up control of the presidents of the United States." Despite his commendation for the billionaire businessman, Farrakhan did not endorse him. "Not that I'm for Trump," he added, "but I like what I'm looking at." Farrakhan also called Jews the synagogue of Satan according to. I just can't get over the audacity of these people.
I consider myself, and I stole this term from Tom Woods, but I consider myself an anti-Trump. And maybe Farrakhan's got similar, opinions about. Maybe Farrakhan feels sort of the same way. I don't like Trump, but I really hate people who hate on Trump.
Right. Well, apparently Farrakhan just doesn't like the Jews. Trump isn't quite as bad. He's just ham-fisted and silly when he says, "I'm a negotiator like you folks." Is there anyone in this room who doesn't negotiate deals? He's there in front of the Jews saying, "You guys like business? I hear that you like business. I'm a businessman." What? It's so funny. Oh, probably. Anyway, he says probably more than any room I've spoken to. I know you. We're here. It's like eye to eye, you and me. It's silly. Anyway, I thought that was the most amusing of the stories this evening. I guess the polls are going to be open until 7 o'clock Eastern time, which has passed. That's the first of them shutting down. And so that's Georgia, Vermont, and Virginia will be the first polls that we start finding out about. And those will start trickling in over time. You can call in and talk about Super Tuesday or, frankly, anything else you want to talk about. But I guess I thought it was funny. I was listening to, Glenn Beck, and I guess it was Glenn Beck today. And they were it sounded like scared to death that Trump was going to win. And they just wanted so bad for Cruz to pull something off.
Glenn Beck is a Cruz man.
So is Rush Limbaugh. It was like Glenn Beck was quoting Rush Limbaugh on his show, which just goes to show how petrified they're circling the wagons. They're like, oh, the other talk show hosts agree with me. Ah! I have a prediction for tonight, and it's not a prediction. This is a certainty. So if you don't want a spoiler, you better turn off your radio now. A douche nozzle is going to win.
Good one, Mark. Good one.
So, I mean, I guess I just don't feel it anymore. I don't have is there sure a Republican I hope pulls this off. I guess a little tiny glimmer of a hope that Trump doesn't get in, but what difference does it make, really? I guess.
I'd have to say Trump is my candidate.
Yeah?
I think so. I mean, I think
and
that
you don't vote.
I think this primary is showing the American democracy the wheels coming off.
Yeah, I would agree. If in fact politics is a sausage factory, then Trump's right out there just showing you all the cow lips and pig testicles that they're putting in. I mean, he's everything. So I guess I like him for that reason. That's the reason I can't get all excited. It's like, whatever. America's got what America deserves, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. His xenophobia is that distresses me whenever I hear it.
Do you believe it, though? I mean, Trump can't be as bad of a president as he is as a candidate, right? Like, he can't have gotten to where he is in life and be as horrifying of an individual as he's actually campaigned as. Yeah, surely he's figured out that there's this is how you win Republican primaries.
I think that's exactly what it is. I think that Trump is just unashamedly and unapologetically pandering to the worst instincts of the basest voters, and that's fear of Mexicans mostly.
I think he's going after all the foreign folks. I mean, is there foreign folk that he hasn't gone after at this point? The ones he's mentioned.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I guess he's badmouthed the Mexicans, the Islamic people, and the Chinese.
But he's got some backbone, so I feel more confident that that the American war machine will not crush him under its treads as readily as they would a Bernie Sanders or somebody else.
He certainly will stand up to anybody. That seems like it. And he's for the Jews. He says, I'm a negotiator like you folks. Huh? What? Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
You're right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at lrn.fm? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at lrn.fm. That's lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Tuesday, gold is up $10 at $1,240 per ounce. Silver is 2 cents lower at $14.94 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $433 US. Gold had its best month in the past 4 years, and year-to-date is up 17%, which is exactly why you should consider buying silver. Call me and I can explain. 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, your live Super Tuesday edition of the show. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And James.
You can give us a call. Give us your thoughts on the presidential election if that's what you wish to do, or frankly, whatever else you'd like to talk about. I think we pretty much have to cover Super Tuesday. I've got some other things to talk about sprinkled in my show prep, but, you know, this is it. This is the biggest day of the primary of the year. I kind of feel like we got to cover these things, especially since it's more of a rolling election than, say, the presidential election. So if this was the first Tuesday in November and we were covering the presidential primary, you can say, all right, the numbers are in. Looks like,
Trump.
Yeah, whoever it is.
Yeah, typically
D-bag A.
D nozzle.
Okay.
Yeah, typically whoever wins Super Tuesday, like almost always, has that momentum and gets the nomination.
Yeah, Super Tuesday is the one as far as that goes. So, there's some very preliminary results that are in. I'll cruise through some real quick, but understand that these numbers are going to change. And it doesn't really matter on the Democrat side who wins. It's about delegates still in that case. But Clinton's been called for Virginia with 0.3% reporting, less than 1% reporting. Donald Trump's up in Virginia. They got nothing. Although they have no votes in Vermont, they're calling it for Sanders. I suspect they're probably right. Nothing in Texas at this point, and nothing in Tennessee. Oh, nothing in Oklahoma, Minnesota, nothing. I've just got to scroll through it here, so I don't have. Looks like they haven't called Massachusetts yet. Amazingly, Georgia, they're calling for Clinton. At this point, remember, 0% reporting. There's almost no statistical significance to this, but they're already reporting it to her for her. Donald Trump is up over Cruz and Rubio in Georgia. Colorado is not yet called. There's nothing reported in Colorado, Alaska, nothing. And Alabama, still nothing.
Speaking of Vermont, I had been wondering, where are the Clinton supporters? Because I've never seen hide nor hair of one.
Well, that's because you're in New Hampshire.
Exactly, yeah.
Wait, there's a couple up the street.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember there were signs right up the street up here, but I think I only counted 2 houses in all of Keene with Clinton signs.
Okay.
There's probably like hundreds of Bernie Sanders signs everywhere.
Yeah, Mark, I didn't figure that out until a couple of weeks ago, that because I'd see that Hillary Clinton seemed to be holding her own against this Bernie Sanders, but around here it's just everybody loves Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders is the guy. And I've got to say, I like him of picking between these people. And again, this is like looking in the toilet bowl and picking what you like the best. I've got to say, Sanders is my favorite amongst them, simply because I don't believe he's that concerned with foreign policy. Therefore, he is unlikely to go invading a whole bunch of other places. I generally, when it comes to commander-in-chief, I vote for the most pro-peace candidate I can find. Trump seems like he would be, but he's got such a temper. It's like, nuke him. He's not the guy that I would want to have the nuclear codes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a scary thought.
But hopefully, I kind of believe enough in, sort of the system. I still believe enough in the system to think like maybe a Secret Service agent would just shoot him if he tried to, blow up the world or something.
Yeah, and I feel sort of differently about Bernie Sanders. I think that that because maybe he has not much interest in foreign policy, I think the person who calls the shots in Washington is sometimes the president and sometimes not the president. It's usually the guy who's the most ruthless and the most violent and the guy who just doesn't give an F and has a corresponding degree of power and influence. Like I say, sometimes it's the president, sometimes it isn't.
Statesmen of old always had to be very ruthless people that had sort of a good public persona. And I think to some extent that's still very much true. Sanders appears to be more of a man of principle. I may not agree with his principles, but it seems like he's largely a man of principle. I would point out, however, that he voted to double down on the funding for the F-35, which is like $1.3 trillion debacle, boondoggle mess. But of course, I believe that they were going to be stationed in Burlington, so that's important.
Yeah. But I think that Sanders would be a pushover, and I think that the wars. The guy deciding whether or not we go to war would not be Bernie Sanders, but that process would continue unabated. Like I was saying earlier, Bernie Sanders got kicked off the stage by a couple of Black Lives Matter protesters. I don't think he's going to be able to stand up to the Pentagon and the CIA.
Don't you think it's possible that in that case of the Black Lives Matter protesters, and I know what incident you're talking about, I think it happened more than once, actually, that what he was trying to do was solidify his relationship with the black vote. I mean, and that's what he's hoping for in South Carolina. It's one of the reasons they're calling Georgia for Clinton at this point, is because for whatever reason, Sanders doesn't resonate with minority communities. I don't know. I don't understand. I just don't get it, right? Like I'm not supposed to.
I suppose that's possible, but I doubt it. I didn't see the whole incident, but I saw him walking away, and he had a look of frustration on his face.
He just always kind of looks that way.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's true.
He's a little grumpy little guy, little gnome. So I'm looking at I've got insider information that the public doesn't get from iQuanti.com here. They've got the Google searches in each of these areas, and Trump and Sanders basically run away with Google searches in a given geographic area. And Sanders' biggest problem is that the people he relies on for votes, they stink. They're millennials. And I'm sorry to the millennials in this room. Johnny Ray, I think you're a Gen Xer.
I'm a Gen Xer.
You look like you could be a millennial, James.
I'm 87, so I don't know when the cutoff is.
Yeah, you got to be 1987. For God's sake, I dated a girl that graduated high school that year. I mean, she was 2 years ahead of me. Jeez, oh Pete. Yeah, definitely. So I mean, they don't get out and vote.
No,
not
don't.
in any quantity. I'm certain there are millennials that are listening to me and that got out and voted, and you get yourself a little sticker, okay? But they're not going to come out in quantity. They might say, "Yep, I'd love to have my student loans taken care of. I sure would love some of that health care that they're talking about, and all those other great things." But I just can't make it.
Yeah, and I think the data shows that. I think the older people are, the more likely they are to vote. And like George Bush knew this, where he had was it Medicare Part D? He basically bribed the old people.
Yeah.
Because he was smart. He knew, like, I have to secure this voting block, so, I'm going to pass this huge government healthcare expansion, and now the old people love him.
Yeah, well, they've really got the Republicans have the old people locked down anyway, so they're in pretty good shape there. And some of them they'll never lock down. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Politics on a Super Tuesday night. Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the Free State and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State, or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Super Tuesday, Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And James.
It looks like, in Virginia, Trump and Clinton are leading. If you want the facts, man, you're going to have to go to the internet. I mean, I can't sit here and read a bunch of statistics to you, but I can tell you.
I think you should, because it would fill time, Mark.
It certainly would. I could just sit here, going over this. 0% in for Hillary Clinton, 0% for R. De La Fuente in Minnesota, 0% for Miles O'Malley.
Keep going.
See, that would definitely fill some time. Georgia, it's Clinton and Trump. Up. They're calling it for Clinton, but Trump's got like 54% now. Remember, there's not a lot of totals yet. I personally don't care until 20%'s in. That's what I want to look at. But these news agencies all feel like they've got to report. They got to be ahead of the other guys. So they're putting that little green check by anybody they can put it by as quick as they can. They aren't usually wrong, though. I'll give them that. And remember, it's about delegates. It's not about necessarily who wins. Let's go to Armed Truth. Wants to call in about Trump. Armed Truth, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how's it going?
All's well. What's on your mind?
Actually, just calling. I heard you guys discussing Trump and Sanders, and I wanted to bring up a point about Trump that I thought was very surprising in the last debate, which I thought was a good point. I think if he implemented it, it'd be great. He was talking about our military bases overseas. He said, we have these military bases all over the world, in Japan, Middle East, all over. He said, bring all the troops home. He said, stop, wasting our money defending these countries when they don't pay us. And I think, every candidate that's in this election is a disaster. In my point, I would not vote for any of them. But I have to say, with Trump, bringing that out into the forefront and being a businessman that he is, he sees everything in dollars and cents. And I think, if he implemented plans like that, it actually could very well help the country in slowly demilitarizing the world and bringing everybody back.
I have heard people make this particular argument about Trump, that he is the least militaristic of the candidates. I guess all of his bluster makes it seem like he wouldn't be. But, I have not yet been able to find any. I mean, again, this isn't I'm not talking about who my favorites are here. My favorite versus, what I'm expecting and, that kind of thing. There's no good candidate in the race, in my opinion. We're just looking in the toilet bowl and seeing what we like.
I saw a meme some weeks ago with it was split into thirds, and it had Eisenhower on one side, Trump on the other side, and then one of the other Republicans in the middle. And it was different quotes about war that they were giving. Eisenhower was saying only a man who's actually seen war knows how horrible it is, and such a man would never be for war. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. And while Cruz and Trump both were giving some version of glass parking lot.
Let's just blow everything up and bound them all to glass.
Yeah, so I assumed that Trump was just like all the rest when I saw that. Now I understand that Lou Rockwell and those guys are saying that Trump has a much more restrained idea for American foreign policy, talking about working with the Russians, which the Obama administration wants no part of. And I assume Clinton.
Obama didn't seem to have a problem working with the Russians. Remember when he had the quote from his first term where he's like, hey, once I get my second term under my belt, I can really negotiate. Remember that one?
I don't.
Oh, yeah, that was a funny one. He looked like he was really just, hey, just passive, placating the Russian bear at that point. It was really, really rather amusing. The Republicans made a lot of hay with that.
So
and
my point...
That and him bowing to just about every minister out there.
Right. And my point is that I don't know what to think about Donald Trump. Because he says one thing now and one thing later, but I guess they're all the same that way. Depends on who they're talking to.
Armed Truth?
Yeah, I agree. No one really knows with Trump, what he's going to do. He's a wild card, realistically. He never really has laid out any plans. He says he's going to do stuff, we're going to build it. And, I got many friends, all these friends are going to help us. They love me. They love me. He's never really said anything of substance. I thought Scott Horton made a good point about it. He said, what Trump's doing is he's the alpha dog. He's the alpha male. He gets up there and he puts all these other guys down. And no one feels bad for politicians when they get made fun of, like Jeb and anything. And he's strong, and that's what people want right now is a strong leader. And Trump emits that aura about himself, and he is a very strong, personality, successfully smart. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. This is the weirdest election I can ever remember.
It is a weird election.
That's actually what I hate about Trump, is that he's strong, because interesting times might produce a strong man who could just visit ruin on America and the rest of the world.
Well, I think it's interesting. He's like the anti-establishment candidate. So to me, the amount of support he's gotten really says something about America. Like, people are very dissatisfied with what is going on, apparently, because like 4 years ago, people would have said, like, it's going to be Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Like, in the bag, no problem.
It looks like it's going to be Hillary Clinton versus somebody, but it doesn't look like it's going to be Jeb Bush.
And even, like, the amount of support that Sanders got really says, like, people are very dissatisfied with the way things are going.
Yeah, that's the message. America's in an uproar. From the war on cops, not that I'm claiming that this is particularly legitimate, but, it seems like people are sick of the government they have. They may want different things than I want, but we appear to be in some kind of pre-revolutionary phase. And the amazing thing is that the politicians and the bureaucrats, they're all like, no, you guys are just wrong. And it doesn't matter whether people are wrong. Maybe we're all wrong, right? Like, maybe police are using exact right amount of force. Maybe, thanks for the call, Armed Truth. Maybe Republicans and maybe Democrats are, doing politics exactly the way they should be doing it. But it doesn't matter in a democracy. What matters is people's opinion. What matters is public perception. And public perception is mad as hell. The Democrats are choosing between an iconoclastic socialist and a woman who has so many scandals that you have to have your ears plugged going, nah, can't hear you, to put this lady up against anybody. I suppose, and then the Republicans are so angry that they're essentially like tearing out their hair and wearing sackcloth by going after Donald Trump, because not only is he the top candidate, but he's the top hated candidate too. So as far as polarization, he's the most polarizing of the candidates. That means that there are Republicans that aren't going to be able to bring themselves to vote for Trump, and they may very well vote for some other choice, like I'm guessing the Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson, former Republican, two-time Republican governor of New Mexico, that you're going to have this really strange dynamic going on. There could be other independents. There's Republicans are now calling on the Republican establishment to disavow Trump. Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, I don't know, one of these things.
He's from Wisconsin, right?
Head critter.
I always get Paul Ryan and Scott Walker confused.
Their names do have a kind of a similarity to them. It's funny how our brains file things. Evil politicians. Paul Ryan comes out today and he's like, I'm just got to say the Republican Party wants nothing to do with somebody who will not immediately disavow the Grand Poobah, the Ku Klux Klan. And so he goes out. I mean, he did everything but say, for God's sakes, people, don't vote for Donald Trump. Please save us from this. But the Republicans have kind of built this. I mean, to some extent, this is what they've built this angry, upset base. I mean, and so these are the chickens coming home to roost.
Yeah, I'd say it's going to be a very interesting time, come election time, to see. I guess my ultimate dream would be like the four people running, like Gary Johnson, Sanders, Clinton, and Trump. All four of them. Of course, that's probably not likely to happen, but that'd be my ideal circumstance.
Give some people some choices. For the Sanders people, they can still vote for Jill Stein of the Green Party, and it's basically the same candidate, except younger. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-975-5269. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-975-5269. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-975-5269. That's 1-800-975-5269.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Super Tuesday edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And James.
We're sitting here reading the internet so you don't have to. reporting what's happening here in the primaries. Looks like in Georgia, they're calling it for Clinton right now. And these numbers are going to change. There's 0.6% reporting in Georgia. So these numbers are going to change. But Clinton's up like 70 to 30 against Sanders. Trump, they're calling it for Trump. He's got 51% to Ted Cruz's almost 21%. So, you know, these numbers they're calling it for. They're not wrong on who they're calling it for. When they put that little green check next to people's names, the chances of them being mistaken are not good. Now, the numbers will change over time, and the numbers really matter here in a primary because we're talking about delegates, and they're being divvied up. I don't think there's any winner-take-all situations here, but there may be, and I could be wrong. Vermont, they're calling for Sanders. He's got 90% with 1.5% in reported. Also, Trump's up well over Kasich. Says something nice about Vermont. Well over Kasich here is second in Vermont. Virginia, Trump is just a skosh. I guess it's about 9 points over Rubio in Virginia. So Rubio apparently is gonna come in second.
Good for him.
Yeah,
is Texas part of Super Tuesday?
Yes, it is. At this point, we don't. They're in Central Time Zone.
They're a little farther west.
Mostly in Central Time Zone. I think there's a portion of it that could be Mountain. And Clinton is up in Virginia, crushing it. She's 2/3. She got 66 to 33, basically. So, yeah. But at this point in Texas, we got no results, 0% reporting, and they don't even have a little green check.
Okay.
At this point, so we don't know.
I've heard that that's a must-win for Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that they're staking their petard on Texas, saying Ted Cruz has to win Texas. It's his home state. I mean, okay, that's not going to do it, you know. Trump is just setting fire to everything else, and you're going to be like, oh, well, look, Ted Cruz won Texas. Well, let him be president of Texas then, because it doesn't make a difference here. Who cares? Yeah, well, seems pretty obvious that Trump's going to take it away tonight, but I guess they have to they make it into a horse race somehow or another. The story here from Politico, top Rubio advisor preparing donors for dismal Super Tuesday, so you can see how that's going to result. You have, Johnny Ray, you have some information, what is it?
I have a story from Justin Raimondo and antiwar.com about Donald Trump. It's called The Lion and the Sheep. On June 14th, 1918, a 19-year-old Italian soldier... I love articles that start
this way. It's a Mussolini reference. Go ahead.
Your favorite part is I'm going to do my best, Mark, to really pronounce these Italian names
God.
just the way that a real Italian would do it. On June 14th, 1918, a 19-year-old Italian soldier by the name of Bernardo Vicario was ordered by his commander, Carl Rigoli, to carry out a curious task. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Italian forces would soon be hit with a furious bombardment that would mean the death of most of them. Rigoli clearly knew this, which is why he told young Bernardo to write an inscription on the ruined wall of a home in the village of Fajar, where they were holed up. The quote, "Better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep."
The Italians, by the way, people love to make fun of the Italian military, like they're sitting around drinking wine all day or whatever. I mean, not exactly known for their their hard fighting. In World War I, they fought and fought, and was terrible terrain up there in the Alps. They're fighting against I think the Serbs is mostly who they were up against. If I could be mistaken. Somebody out there screaming at their radio, "Dear God, are you kidding? It was the Croats," or whatever. I have no idea. I think it was the Serbs. So, they fought long and they fought hard. I do, watch an inordinate amount of World War I documentaries. And, the Italians, they get some credit. Obviously, most of it's about the French, the English, and the Germans.
Mark, I think that to that point, I think war is an emasculating event for any country, because they're sending off their warriors, and the bravest warriors sacrifice themselves to save their friends, and then they don't reproduce. And for example, the French were the mightiest power on the continent for centuries.
Yeah.
And now they're regarded by America anyway, depending on... Well, they're regarded by America as weenies.
They're sneered at. There's memes out there. French rifle, only dropped once, never fired. They make fun of the French military. Again, this is right now the 100-year anniversary of the Battle of Verdun, and talk about a pointless battle that hundreds of thousands of people died at. But
have you seen some of those modern pictures of Verdun? It's just the ground is chewed up. There's holes everywhere and craters.
It's amazing,
with grass growing over it.
And they find these trenches and they excavate them every once in a while. But I think it's worth pointing out is because people often talk about how the French military is just a bunch of weenies or whatever. But this before Gandalf the Grey said it, the French said it. A generation of French soldiers said, "They shall not pass." And literally, that was where J.R.R. Tolkien got it from. They shall not pass. And they just threw human meat at this line. I mean, there were literally every one of the battalions that went through there. They put every battalion through and had to have 60% casualties before you got cycled out.
Whoa!
Right? I mean, just got chewed to pieces. Tell me that's a country of cowards. I'm not prepared to say that. Go on. I'll talk about World War I, which is completely irrelevant to our lives all night long.
No, this is just like being in school, where you try and get the teacher to talk about so she can't assign you any homework. But the Dan Carlin series.
Talk to Mark about World War I and pigs. He'll just never give you homework.
Your pigs terrified me, by the way. We can get back to that later. I thought that I was going to die.
Oh, that's right. You had to feed them for 3 days while I was at Liberty for them.
Yeah, 3 days was enough. But the Dan Carlin series, there was a story in there where he was talking about these shell craters where they would fire gas and poisons at each other, insecticides and all manner of things to kill each other with. And somebody speaking at the time was writing in his journal that the next spring, after some fantastic battle somewhere, the grass started to grow up in that destroyed battlefield, and then immediately just died because the soil was soaked with poison.
Yeah.
and the shell craters were full of like poisonous water at the bottom.
Well, and
World War
rotting
I was
flesh.
was so horrifying.
And these guys are sitting in there for hours, so they're pooping and peeing in there, so they've got everything going on in these crater holes. Really, it was 6-1, half a dozen of the other. Do you want to die in this hole in a horrible fashion? Because that's where all the gas sits low, right? So you're in a hole. That's where the gas is sitting. You got to kind of keep your head up to breathe out of the hole. But you put your head up, you die because they shoot your face off.
So there's a story here in Anti-War that begins telling the story of the Italian World War I warriors Carlo Rigoli and Bernardo something or other in the village of Fajar. So Rigoli tells Bernardo to scrawl a message on the wall that says, "Better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep." Rigoli perished in the battle. Bernardo lived to tell the tale. And almost 100 years later, a researcher looking for ways to smear GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump stumbled across a reference to it and attributed it to Benito Mussolini.
Oh, really?
The Italian dictator.
That's fascinating because I heard this on the news. You would have thought the news would have, they would check this a little more. By the way, Free Talk Live, commentary, not the news.
Yeah, the news does not, I guarantee the news does not read enough antiwar.com. A reporter for Gawker, the notorious gossip site that's been sued for libel more times than I care to discover, had set up a parody Twitter account named Il Duce, and the reporter, one Ashley Feinberg, tweeted the "not said by Mussolini" quote at Trump, who promptly retweeted it. Shortly afterward, Trump was confronted by reporter Chuck Todd, who wanted to know why he was retweeting something said by Mussolini.
You said Mussolini, and everybody's saying you're like Mussolini because they don't want to say you're like Hitler because they're a bunch of wimps.
Trump wouldn't back down. "It's a great quote," he said.
It is a great quote.
Quite correctly. That refusal and the content of the quote itself underscores and explains why he is winning and why the hysterical smear campaign directed at him in his campaign is failing big time.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, March 1st, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,247 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $437. Antiwar.com reports, though all the details are still emerging, the results of the Iranian parliament election were released by the Interior Ministry on Monday and showed a strong shift in composition towards the reformist wing, giving the supporters of President Hassan Rouhani a plurality. The split sees 85 reformist members of parliament and 73 members of the moderate conservative camp, meaning the two factions combined for a majority, even without further possible gains in some districts during runoff votes. These factions both supported the nuclear deal and are broadly supportive of international rapprochement. The big losers are the ultra-conservatives, who had over 100 seats in the parliament last time but are down to just 68. Turnout was 62% nationwide, according to the Interior Ministry of Iran. The election also saw voting for the Assembly of Experts, a body which is responsible for selecting the next supreme leader. Though the experts aren't split up by political alliance, they too appear to be heavily moderate and reformist. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook Video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. UPI reports U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas on Monday asked a question from the bench during oral arguments for the first time in 10 years. Thomas has had a reputation for staying silent during proceedings as other members of the court ask questions of attorneys to clarify statements. But on Monday, the first Supreme Court session after the death of Justice Antonin Scalia, Thomas was active and vocal. The case before the court was Voisin v. United States, a low-profile criminal case centering on the conviction of two men charged with domestic violence. The U.S. Supreme Court must determine whether a prior conviction of a reckless domestic assault qualifies as federal misdemeanor domestic violence, which disqualifies the men from possessing firearms. After Federal Solicitor General Ilana Eisenstein argued her case and took questions, Thomas asked how long the suspension of Second Amendment rights was for those prohibited by federal law to possess firearms and whether Eisenstein knew of similar cases. Although the matter under discussion was not a Second Amendment case, Thomas appeared to be defending the amendment, which demands no government infringement on the right to bear arms. Thomas has previously stated he regards the availability of the Supreme Court's question and answer protocol to be discourteous to the attorneys. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Google, part of Alphabet Incorporated, said on Monday it bears some responsibility after one of its self-driving cars struck a municipal bus in a minor crash earlier in the month. The crash may be the first case of one of its autonomous cars hitting another vehicle and the fault of the self-driving car. The Mountain View, California-based company said it made changes to its software after the crash to avoid future incidents. In a February 23rd report filed with California regulators, Google said the crash took place in Mountain View on February 14th when a self-driving Lexus RX 450h sought to get around some sandbags in a wide lane. The autonomous vehicle was moving at less than 2 miles per hour while the bus was moving at about 15 miles per hour. The report said the vehicle and the test driver believed the bus would slow or allow the Google autonomous vehicle to continue. But 3 seconds later, as the Google car in autonomous mode re-entered the center of the lane, it struck the side of the bus, causing damage to the left front fender, front wheel, and a driver's side sensor. Google said in a statement on Monday that we clearly bear some responsibility because if our car had not moved, there would not have been a collision. That said, our test driver believed the bus was going to slow or stop to allow us to merge into traffic, and that there would be sufficient space to do that. The Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority will investigate the circumstances of the incident. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. According to sources, all 6.5 million residents of Indiana spontaneously formed thousands of perfectly uniform rows throughout the state Monday morning and established a collective consciousness. Saying, "We are Indiana," the new hive mind talked and moved in unison, with citizens working together to build a massive geometric superstructure in downtown Indianapolis where they would gather to sleep, breed, and feed.
All fours for Indiana.
The collective state went on to report that soon Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Kentucky, and Canada would all become Indiana. Persons close to Phoenix area friends Jake Welter and Mike Seflin confirmed Friday that the two men are absolutely incapable of greeting each other like normal human beings. Sources say the two full-grown men simply cannot walk into a room and shake each other's hands, relying instead on elaborate dances, forced pop culture references, and extended fake fighting. Neither Welter nor Seflin was available for comment as they were busy pretending to rip each other's faces off.
Free Talk Live.
Not only is it Free Talk Live, but it's Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday.
Day.
Whole bunch of liars are competing for your attention today. Not just us.
And with you in studio, it's Johnny Ray.
James.
And Mark. You can give us a call at 855-450-3733. We are discussing the Super Tuesday. You know, the results are trickling in here. I think we have to pretty much report on them. From Virginia, they've got about 1.9% reporting. They're calling it for Clinton. She's got about 2/3 of the electorate there, and Sanders about 1/3. Trump is about 9 points above Rubio, with just over 1% reporting in Virginia. Vermont, they're calling it for Sanders. He's got 90%. You'd expect that in Vermont. That's his home state. He better take that. I'm most interested in Massachusetts, and they didn't have any numbers the last I looked, but I'll be scrolling up here, and maybe we'll have some. That's right, Free Talk Live, reading the internet, so you don't have to. Republicans with 2% reporting. Donald Trump is more than 10 points over Kasich in Vermont. Texas, I got 0 reporting at this point. Tennessee, they're calling for Clinton. It's about 60% for Clinton, and somebody says uncommitted. Uncommitted's got 4%. I mean, that's what the purpose of the primary is, to get committed, people. Why did you go to the polls if you're not committed? Why spend the gasoline? Sanders got about 35% there. In Tennessee, it's been called for Trump. He's got 52%. With 0% reporting. This is 0% reporting on both of these. Whatever. Cruz is at 23%. I wouldn't expect that lead to stay that big, but then again, you never know. Oklahoma, nothing coming in yet. Minnesota, likely to go for Sanders, but nothing in yet. They have called Massachusetts for Donald Trump, and they have absolutely no numbers. 0. Just a little check mark next to say
maybe
Trump.
they're doing the exit polls. Like maybe it's 80% Trump or something like that.
They do exit polling, and they do base these numbers on that.
One thing I was kind of thinking, I was curious about, it's like such a weird election. I was thinking, why are there so many Republicans running, and then there's only 2 Democrats, and what is going on with the Republicans?
The field was winnowed for the Democrats pretty early on. It was basically, everybody figured it was either the support was either for Sanders or Trump or Clinton. With the Republicans, it's been that way for the last few. It's just like, oh, we like this one. Oh, we like that one. Oh, we like this one. But Trump's just kept on leading the pack.
I mean, I would guess if Hillary wins, I think they're basically giving it to the Republicans, because it seems to me like Americans don't want establishment candidates. And you could even argue Barack Obama was an example of that, where you had let's say McCain and Romney, kind of these establishment guys, versus Obama. Of course, second time you could say Obama was establishment, but
presidents generally win if they haven't murdered anybody in office. Sometimes who knows? You got to do something pretty bad as a president to be unsuccessful. Usually it's the economy, but anyway, what I would say is that
the economy's stupid. That's why George H.W. Bush lost.
Well, and Ross Perot, right?
Oh, yeah, Ross Perot.
Yeah, Ross Perot was likely.
Of course, he was related to the economy, because he was like, oh, there's these charts, and all the Mexicans are taking the jobs, and NAFTA's bad, and whatever else he was saying.
But when it comes to Clinton, I would have agreed with you that she was going to be beaten because she has so many scandals. That negative campaigning's a reality, and there's a lot of ground to till there. But Trump, who is leading, I mean, he's running away with it here in Georgia. They've called it for him, too. He's at 46% to Cruz's 21%. I mean, he is a very polarizing candidate. So I think that he is a wild card in there, and I can't say that I believe that he is going to beat Clinton. I think that likely there'll be somebody else out there for sort of conservative Republicans who aren't Trump supporters to vote for. I don't know. Maybe they'll all get in line behind Trump. Maybe they won't. I don't know the answer, but it's going to be a fascinating election. It's just getting weirder and weirder. I think that there was a meme on Facebook that I saw. I think America's in its last season. The writers are just throwing out everything. It's kind of funny. I mean, it really seems like that. Like it's just, this is it. Arthur Fonzarelli is going to have to jump the great white shark in his motorcycle. Well, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Let's send the Brady Bunch to Hawaii. It just keeps on getting weirder and weirder.
I'm calling it for Trump, Mark, and it's because people.
The general? You're calling the general for Trump?
Trump is going to be the winner. Is going to win the presidency of the U.S. because people who don't vote and don't ever think about voting are going to go vote for Trump. Trump's not going to win with the. I think that it's likely that Rush and Glenn Beck and the rest of them are going to be able to do the job of pulling the establishment support away from Trump, but I don't think that that's going to matter. I think people who don't normally care about politics are going to vote for Trump because it's an event. It's a historical event.
But you'd have the opposite going on, too. I think people are going to go, I'm afraid of Trump, so I got to go vote because he's,
but for Clinton,
fill in the blank.
God,
that's a good point.
I mean, you're asking him to vote. You're really asking him for the frying pan or the fire here, and it's a difficult one. So if I don't believe that talk radio is very relevant in the area of voting. I think if it was, then we wouldn't have Barack Obama as president. Rush Limbaugh would have been able to take that small amount of people and convince them.
Yep.
Because elections are decided by that 10% in the middle. That's really those are the people that make the decision one way or the other. It's in many cases
linguini spine moderates.
In many cases, in these swing states, they've got swing counties. There's really places where they know that if they can turn a few thousand people, that it really makes a big difference. And that's for those numbers people who spend their lives crunching those numbers.
Speaking of those numbers people, where's Darryl? Shouldn't he be here?
He's out. It's his night off. He gets one.
All right.
So he's off playing trivia someplace at a bar in Keene. Georgia, they've got Clinton up 75 to basically 25 over Sanders. Colorado, no numbers are in yet. Arkansas, no numbers. I wonder if that will go for Clinton.
Who knows?
Alaska's just.
I guess Arkansas. Sanders versus Clinton. Okay, I'm with you there, Mark.
Yeah.
It's Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton was her husband was the former governor there. I think it'd just be funny to have Bill running around the White House, chasing around the interns. I didn't touch her. I didn't touch her. No, I didn't do it. It's just. It'd be fun to have him back. The Secret Service would have a good time if he was back.
Yeah, sure they would. What's the term that Clinton came up with for the first husband? It was great, whatever it was. It was like
first dude,
something like that.
Dude?
First dude or first lad. I don't know.
It's funny. Alaska, there's nothing. It's just a Republican. They won't be until midnight, so don't stay up for that, folks. Alabama. They're calling for Clinton. 70. Clinton's basically going to sweep the South by the looks of this. There's not much in as far as numbers go, but they've called it for Clinton. She's 75% over Sanders is 20%. And they're calling it for Trump in Alabama. 0% reporting, mind you. They're calling it for Trump. He's at 35% over Rubio's 22%. I am kind of curious how Rubio's going to do, but it looks like Trump's going to run away with everything. And they're saying Texas might be a battleground, but I think that's laughable. Oh, wow, Cruz got a state? Congratulations, buddy. You won a primary and a caucus. Trump's already so far up in delegate numbers that it's it's laughable. Hearing Glenn Beck today just trying to go, rah, rah, team, we got this. You got to get out there. You got to vote for Cruz, and that'll make all the difference.
Mark, the former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin often referred to her husband as Alaska's first dude. Bill Clinton used the term first lad and first mate.
First mate. We'll take this boat over the edge. Off to the icebergs with us. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-719-9349. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-719-9349. That's 1-800-719-9349. 1-800-719-9349.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Talk Live Super Tuesday event. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And James.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And you can give us a call and talk about what your thoughts are on the candidates here. We've been giving you the numbers and talking about them. And I got to say, Democrats, you look like a bunch of cheaters with your superdelegates. I get that, everybody's got their opinions as far as the parties go and all that stuff. And surely, no, I'm never going to trick anybody into thinking I'm, a Democrat sympathizer. I'm certainly not. But it's trying to be as objective as I can, this just looks bad, people. Who are these superdelegates and what do you need them for? If it isn't obviously an obvious attempt to forestall democracy by the Democratic Party, then I don't know what it is. Somehow the Republicans are more Democratic than the Democrats, apparently.
Now, what is the difference between them? What are the superdelegates not being counted in the numbers that we're getting about the Republicans, while Clinton is being reported as having those superdelegates in her pocket? Republicans
rely on cheap backroom deals and tricks in order to put their candidates in place. They don't have superdelegates. I'll bet you they're wishing they had superdelegates right about now with Trump running away with things.
Right.
But they don't have them.
Okay.
And the Democrats do. So if you look at Clinton and Sanders' delegate count prior to tonight's numbers, we really don't know what's going on yet. But if you look at their counts, it's pretty close. And then you tack on the superdelegates, and it goes to 546 to 87.
Right.
That's because 455 of those 546 are superdelegates.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so the deck was stacked before they got started, essentially. Now, these superdelegates can flip. They can, and they will flip. If they believe that Sanders is the obvious winner, that they're obviously going to flip. But
so most of the delegates are superdelegates.
Not most, no. Many of the delegates are superdelegates.
Okay.
Sanders has got 22, and Clinton has 455. And these are just people that have promised to vote at the convention for them, and they're party insiders, people that they've paid their dues essentially, and so they get to have a say, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about all the Democrats in a state amounting to 30 delegates or something like that, and then the candidates split them, and then the state's got 3 or 4 super delegates. Those three people would represent a tenth of the Democrats in a given state. It's ridiculous. So anyway, that's my advice to the Democratic Party. Not that they're really caring much about me, but there's going to be a whole lot of angry Sanders supporters when this is all over. They're going to be sad. They're going to be dejected. They're going to be demoralized. They're going to hate the system. At this point, many of the memes I see they're more anti-Hillary than the Republicans' memes are. So it's going to be pretty tough to get those people excited about coming out to vote for Hillary Clinton after they're so firmly against her at this time. She's the establishment candidate as far as they're concerned, and if you're slicing the cheese by establishment versus anti-establishment candidates, then you're looking at things entirely differently than Republican and Democrat. I think many of those people they could vote for the Green Party. They could stay home. Some of them will go to Clinton. They'll be like, oh, well, it's either her or Trump, and so I just got to go for Clinton. And that's the one thing about the general election that they get kind of good at. That last month, they just petrify the people that are sort of sympathetic to one side or the other. Because they know that you don't like their candidate. They just want you to vote for the candidate so that the other guy doesn't get in. And, I mean, it's just done over and over again. I've had a situation where I lost a girlfriend over it. I'm like, I know. I am not voting I'm not going to vote for a Republican or a Democrat in the general election. And like she just couldn't listen, just couldn't hear it.
So that's a policy of yours, or it was at the time.
I don't in a general election your vote counts so little that it doesn't particularly matter who you vote for, so you might as well vote for the one that's closest to you, and the one that's closest to me generally is the Libertarian. So that's who I generally vote for.
Okay, I see. Limbaugh said that this was some months ago. He said his read on Bernie Sanders was that Bernie Sanders was brought in order to make a show of Clinton having a real opponent, but that in fact he was never intended to seriously contend for the nomination, but he was just there to show her overcoming some kind of adversity. What do you think about that, Mark? You think there's anything to that?
I don't. Rush Limbaugh is a conspiracy theorist.
All right.
And I don't brook conspiracy theories. You're going to have to show me some evidence of that. I think that if they did that, it's a bad idea, because people support Sanders so thoroughly that they have they've really made these people hate Clinton in the process. So if they did that, it was a bad notion. But I try not to delve too deep in these things, because you always come up with these ideas. Well, is Trump a plant by Clinton in order to be the only one that she could possibly beat? Because I don't think she could beat Rubio or Cruz or Kasich, or I don't think she could beat Bush. I don't think she could beat any of the Republicans except for except for Trump, who is the most divisive of them. I don't know that she can beat him. I'm just saying I think that he is the one that she most likely could beat, because he's just such a divisive figure.
That's funny, because they're all so milquetoast to me that I feel like Trump is the only one that she should be afraid of.
Well, people don't vote for president based on how milquetoasty they are. Clinton, remember, all you have to do is you have to convince that 10% in the middle. Negative campaigning works. If you try to think about bad things about Kasich or Rubio or Cruz compared to the bad things about Clinton, the lady's got like 25 different scandals. I don't remember what the number is, but from Whitewater to Benghazi. I'm not saying that I think these things are true. It doesn't matter what I think is true. What matters is if you can scare people. And if a Republican's running against Clinton, they're going to be, all the gloves are going to be off, the long knives are out, and they're going to be trying to gut her, and there's plenty they can gut her with. And that's why I think the Republican has a really good chance. With Trump, he's such a polarizing figure, and he said so many things that they can trot out later that we'll see.
Yeah, but he's going to make America great again.
I love how he says that over and over again. Which is to suggest America is not great now.
It ain't.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1 G2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special, or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Tuesday, gold is up $10 at $1,240 per ounce. Silver is 2 cents lower at $14.94 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $433 US. Gold had its best month in the past 4 years, and year-to-date is up 17%, which is exactly why you should consider buying silver. Call me and I can explain. 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Super Tuesday here on Free Talk Live. So we are, giving you the results as best we can tell. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And James.
Obviously, you can go and get the real scoop by, use a search engine and look for presidential primary results. But, I think that it's worth going over these numbers. Looks like Alabama is being called for Clinton and Trump. Alaska hasn't reported yet, which this could be like midnight, so don't wait up, folks. There's not that many delegates in the offing anyway. It looks like 28 of them. You'll be fine. You can find that out in the morning. Arkansas, there's no numbers yet, but they're already calling it for Clinton wisely. Trump, we don't know as far as Trump. Colorado, they don't have any numbers for yet. Georgia is being called for Clinton and Trump. Massachusetts, too close to call between Sanders and Clinton. It's neck and neck. I was kind of hoping that he'd run away with Massachusetts. Nice crushing defeat for her in Massachusetts would have been fun for me, but it doesn't look like it. Trump up.
I'm sorry, what's happening in Massachusetts?
It's neck and neck between Sanders and Clinton.
Oh, okay.
Trump has been they've called it for Trump and Mass. Minnesota, it's they haven't really got any numbers yet. Clinton and Sanders are pretty close in Oklahoma. Trump's up by about 5% over Cruz there. Tennessee, it's crushing. Clinton is crushing Sanders, and it's called for her. Trump is also called for him. Clinton is ahead of Sanders by quite a bit in Texas. They haven't called it yet for her, but if those numbers remain, then it's going to be an obvious win for her. Cruz is over Trump in Texas at this time with about 1% reporting. So I wouldn't call it in the bag, but oftentimes that sets the pace, even when you have 1%. Vermont, Sanders crushes Clinton, as he should in that area, and Trump's up by about 4% over Kasich, but they haven't called it for Trump yet. In Virginia, they've called it for Clinton. They haven't called it for Trump, but he is over Rubio by about 7%. So there you go. It's those are your numbers, and we'll keep you updated as time goes by. This is one of those nights where Free Talk Live has to be a radio program as opposed to just a podcast, too. We do both of these things, and I understand our podcast listeners are going to be sort of, hearing things that they'd already heard. Sorry about that. We got responsibilities to people with FCC licenses out there. Robert, calling in from Bellows Falls, Vermont. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I've been listening to the show here for, I don't know, you guys have been on for about an hour and a half, I guess, and I've been watching the results. I've been watching the results, and kind of making me a little nervous because I am a Bernie Sanders supporter.
You're in Vermont,
and
of course.
I'm in Vermont, and but it's getting kind of scary because, if you look at Trump, if he wins, there's no doubt in my mind that we'll see a revolutionary war between North and the South. It's inevitable.
Which side is Trump going to be on?
Whose side is Trump going to be on?
I don't know. But if you look at, if you go on YouTube and look at some of the Trump rallies that you see, there's people that are spitting at each other, they're grabbing at each other, they're just doing all these horrible things.
There are, he's a divisive character. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, xenophobia is one of our basest instincts. It's fundamental, and he's harnessing that fear that people have of the other.
Well, people have suggested that if there was another, civil war in the United States, it would be split down ethnic lines. I would hate to see that happen, but I suppose that's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not looking for that, but let me ask you this, Robert. What if there is going to be a Republican nominee for president? What if that nominee is Donald Trump? What's that mean to you? What are you going to do?
I'll write in Bernie Sanders before I vote for that candidate.
What about Clinton? You going to vote for Clinton to?
I absolutely not, because if Clinton wins, she'll try to take all the guns, and it's just a really scary time. I'm older than you guys are, okay, and I'm disabled, and I can't defend myself because of my disease. And what scares me, not literally, but what concerns me most of all is which way that our country is headed. It's just total chaos. It's like this guy that had called in the local radio station in Keene today, defending the police and saying that, there's groups that are out there that are saying, disobey the police, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And, if any one of these two win, Clinton or Trump wins, I won't even leave my house.
Well, it's. I think you're gonna. It's likely you're gonna get one of them. That much is for sure. Just out of curiosity, Robert, what did you think about Sanders coming out this week and saying that really nobody should have guns except for hunting? Strange position for a Vermont senator.
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't see that. I mean, I think that, and my opinion is that, you know, the state or at least the federal government should get out of the gun law business, you know, and they should let the states decide, you know, how the gun laws work. I mean, in this state here, Vermont, it has the laxest gun laws out of all the states in the United States, and yet we have the least amount of gun violence.
And violence generally. Vermont is, pretty darn close to crime-free, and you can basically anybody who's not a convicted felon can possess a gun there and carry it on their person without a permit. And
you can walk downtown in any street in the state of Vermont with a concealed carry loaded weapon without a permit. It's how it should be.
You can walk downtown with a loaded shotgun and no clothes on in Vermont. I mean, it's a strange place.
And pretty soon smoking pot, too.
Smoking pot with no clothes on and a shotgun over your shoulder. Thanks for the call, Robert. 855-450-3733. You know, you can say what you want about our good friends to the west over there in Vermont, but they got a pretty nice state in a lot of ways.
I would be happy with the Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont nation state. I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, if you're going to start carving up pieces of land, I'd like it to be smaller and smaller, not bigger and bigger. But I do feel a certain camaraderie with the northern New England states that I don't feel with the southern New England states. I know that most people in America just think of New England as one particular place, but Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, these are entirely different than Massachusetts.
Well, so Western Mass is different than like Eastern Mass.
Everything's dominated by the Boston Metro.
That's true.
Up
So
here.
it's like I guess it's a problem. Like the rest of the United States is dominated by DC, right? It's like we have nothing in common with these people down there, or very little. I guess we speak the same language. Theirs
is full of lies.
Speaking of regions and states and so forth, for anybody who's like Robert, who is afraid of Bernie Sanders or is afraid of Donald Trump or that scary Kasich guy or Ben Carson, when they get elected, come to New Hampshire and join the Free State Project.
There you go, freestateproject.org. Give it a shot. Looks like, speaking of Massachusetts, looks like Trump has been called for Trump. 15 delegates. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live, Super Tuesday. February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLBeats.com. I believe in Super Beats. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Live, 855-450-3733. Live Super Tuesday event. You know, it's, I gotta say, I was excited earlier this week. Like yesterday, I was like, I kind of want to find out what the results of the presidential stuff is. You know, like I felt that little bit of that, you know, excitement, whereas I tend to be like, you know, these politicians. But I guess it's kind of like having the lottery numbers revealed. You know, you've got a stake. No matter what, as an American, you have a stake in who
wins the lottery.
Well, who ends up being, you know, the next liar in chief, right?
Yes, it can affect you.
It likely will affect you in some way. So, you know, just to see who the result. My guy's out, right? Rand Paul was out before even the New Hampshire primary. I wish he would have stayed in, so I would have, you know, been able to vote for him. But whatever. I don't have a horse in this race. It's not, you know, I don't. To me, all of them are horrifying.
Well, it's unfortunate. I mean, like Robert was saying that he's frightened by whoever's going to be the next president if it's not Bernie Sanders. And, like, to me, that's, you know, because the system is so powerful, you have to be concerned with it. Like, oh, like, if this person gets elected, you know, they'll do this. It's all fear-based, and it's just because there's so much power now in the federal government. It's like they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, and it seems, I guess that's just the nature of things, right? Like power tends, it's like gravity. You know, it's like, you know, the Jupiter pulls things towards it. It's got 20-something moons for a reason, you know, because it just kind of pulls things in, and that's what happens with the office of president.
Well, like, to me, like, when I go down to D.C., like, it's like, you know, my brother lives down there. To me, it's like Hunger Games, you know, like the Capital District. It's all wealthy and rich, and
yeah,
it's like a totally different world. I mean,
they didn't have a recession. The rest of us did, and they didn't, because, you know, the business of taking other people's money by force is doing just fine. That's one of the reasons that local economies really took it on the chin, was when there was the housing bubble that was happening, they were getting all this extra tax money from reassessing people's property. Oh my goodness, everybody's property is going up, 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 up. We got more and more and more and more money. And so they just kept taking the money. And then local governments, they don't know how to tighten their belt. It's like, we've hired these people and now they've got dental and optical and they got kids in school and we can't fire them. We can't put them. I mean, there's companies going out of business. Whole industries are being laid waste too, but oh my God, we can't let the part-time meter maid go. For God's sake, she's got a family.
And it's like, if you look up like median household income and you look at the like the top counties, it's Loudoun County, Fairfax County, Arlington, Howard County, Maryland. These all are mostly Virginia and Maryland. They're all like DC, like 117,000 median household income. I mean, that's insane when you think about how much money these people are making. Where, like in Keene here, it's like maybe 50. So it's like basically
and this is the
more than double.
This is the number one state in the union as far as median household income goes. But these counties blow us away because of the fact that federal government employees make a ton of money. That's why.
And the contractors, too. There's so much.
Barring the TSA.
Yeah, there's like, all these little government, it's like government industry, I guess. It's like state-run industry down there.
That's what it is. It's the king's men, and they always do pretty good. They get their pick of the booty, as it were.
Depression is the health of the state.
Speaking of Virginia, they called it for Clinton over Sanders. It's 64 to 34, so it's a pretty good a trouncing. However, with 80% of the Republican vote in, they are still unwilling to call it for Trump, who's up 5% over Rubio in Virginia. So Cruz is getting left in the dirt there. It's kind of interesting. Rubio is the establishment candidate. He's doing well in, D.C.
Right.
But they haven't called Vermont for Trump yet either. He's up more than 5%, like 7% over Kasich there. It's interesting. The only state Kasich's going to do well in. They haven't called Texas for Cruz. He's about 10 points over Trump. Looks like he's going to take Texas over Trump, and I don't know how the delegates go. They're not allocating delegates out at this point in Texas. There's only 1.3% of the vote in, but maybe it's a winner-take-all state. I don't know the answer to that. Some people know better than I. They haven't called Texas for Clinton, who is running away with it from Sanders. Basically, if it's a southern state, Clinton's got it, and she's beating Sanders.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, what are the Bernie Sanders people going to do? They're going to be burned, and they're going to be burned bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really good question. Now, it's a long time till November, so you tend to heal up. The electorate tends to heal up from the lashing they received, because it could be that Sanders goes down here. This election, or not so Super Tuesday coming up like next week or whatever, and then you're talking about that you've got from March to November for everybody to kind of heal up and get their wits about them and decide what they're going to do. It looks like it's going to be the nomination's going to be Trump. Sorry, you don't have to like it, but I'm seeing him, taking all these elections. Yep. Except for it's D-Trump. I'm scrolling through here, and basically the only place that he's not winning at this point is Texas. It does look like nope. He's just pulled ahead of Rubio in Arkansas. So yep. Yeah, I mean it's up and down the dial. I think that Clinton's or Sanders supporters, some of them are going to get in line. I think. I don't know how many.
Well, it'll be interesting. Like, will Sanders say that you should support Hillary? I think that'll play a factor. And
he can just as easily flip to independent, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he could. It would be very interesting to see if he did and what would happen if if there was an independent on either side of the race, a lefty independent and a righty independent. Be very interesting to see.
I don't see that happening. I don't see Bernie Sanders pulling anything like that because the party.
He's not a Democrat, though. He's an independent out of Vermont.
Technically he's a socialist. Like that's his party, right?
He's an independent. I don't think that. I think he calls himself a socialist, but I don't think he's a part of the Socialist Party.
Okay, so
But you're right. The Democrats are certainly, he caucuses with the Democrats, and they're certainly going to say, Bernie, buddy, you had your chance, and you missed.
We'll give you a cabinet.
We beat you fair and square with our superdelegates, pal.
We'll give you a cabinet position, or we'll give you, some kind of something that you want. You know,
the
what
thing
I mean?
about him is that he's not as easy to buy as the rest of them, though. I mean, he's got money, and he said he's going to stay in and give them somebody to give everybody a chance to vote in the primary for who the candidate they want to vote for. And he's got the money to do it. He's getting a little bit of trouble for his the donations. I guess some people are, the same way they were excited about Ron Paul. There's some foreigners that have donated to his campaign. They want him to win so badly. There are people who have donated more than $2,700 that you're supposed to donate. Somehow his campaign's supposed to keep vigilant track of all this stuff and know everything, and I don't know how easy that could possibly be. It's really tough when you're not getting these big, giant checks in. You're getting, little tiny checks to track everything and all that stuff.
So is Stormfront endorsing Sanders or Clinton?
Stormfront, I think they're going to probably endorse Trump, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but between those two, sorry, I was just making a joke about Ron Paul.
Oh, I see. Ron Paul he got endorsed by Stormfront and wouldn't give the money back after people asked about it, and he's like, I can put it to better use than they could.
Yeah, that was so great.
I think that was a pretty good response.
It's Trumpian. It's a Trumpian response.
Well, Trump, he had some trouble about the Ku Klux Klan. He wouldn't disavow the Ku Klux Klan or David Duke, for the 37th time loudly enough, quickly enough. It's really kind of a funny thing for a scandal. I mean, he's disavowed him many, many, many times, hundreds of times on Twitter. And somebody asked him, and he claimed to have a bad earpiece, but the way he answered didn't sound like a bad earpiece. It just sounded like he was being, flippant Trump. And
let's say Trump denounced the KKK. Is that going to win him any voters from the other side? I don't know. So to me, it's like a non-issue. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's going to bring him voters over.
It's not going to win him any friends. So it's not. I guess it's not to me. It doesn't swing me one way or the other. I
would have said something like, "Look, no modern politician can be run around without disavowing the KKK. Let's be serious here. Come on. Of course I disavow the KKK. Nobody could not disavow the KKK. So you kind of backdoor it because as well as I do, these KKK people are probably pretty darn excited about Donald Trump.
I say Mark for president.
855 450 free. I don't have what it takes to play in the sandbox with these people. Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com. FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, March 1st, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.03 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,247 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $437. Antiwar.com reports, though all the details are still emerging, the results of the Iranian parliament election were released by the Interior Ministry on Monday and showed a strong shift in composition towards the reformist wing, giving the supporters of President Hassan Rouhani a plurality. The split sees 85 reformist members of parliament and 73 members of the moderate conservative camp, meaning the two factions combined for a majority, even without further possible gains in some districts during runoff votes. These factions both supported the nuclear deal and are broadly supportive of international rapprochement. The big losers are the ultra-conservatives, who had over 100 seats in the parliament last time but are down to just 68. Turnout was 62% nationwide, according to the Interior Ministry of Iran. The election also saw voting for the Assembly of Experts, a body which is responsible for selecting the next supreme leader. Though the experts aren't split up by political alliance, they too appear to be heavily moderates and reformist. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. UPI reports U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas on Monday asked a question from the bench during oral arguments for the first time in 10 years. Thomas has had a reputation for staying silent during proceedings as other members of the court ask questions of attorneys to clarify statements. But on Monday, the first Supreme Court session after the death of Justice Antonin Scalia, Thomas was active and vocal. The case before the court was Voisin v. United States, a low-profile criminal case centering on the conviction of two men charged with domestic violence. The U.S. Supreme Court must determine whether a prior conviction of a reckless domestic assault qualifies as federal misdemeanor domestic violence, which disqualifies the men from possessing firearms. After Federal Solicitor General Ilana Eisenstein argued her case and took questions, Thomas asked how long the suspension of Second Amendment rights was for those prohibited by federal law to possess firearms and whether Eisenstein knew of similar cases. Although the matter under discussion was not a Second Amendment case, Thomas appeared to be defending the amendment, which demands no government infringement on the right to bear arms. Thomas has previously stated he regards the availability of the Supreme Court's question and answer protocol to be discourteous to the attorneys. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports Google, part of Alphabet Incorporated, said on Monday it bears some responsibility after one of its self-driving cars struck a municipal bus in a minor crash earlier in the month. The crash may be the first case of one of its autonomous cars hitting another vehicle and the fault of the self-driving car. The Mountain View, California-based company said it made changes to its software after the crash to avoid future incidents. In a February 23rd report filed with California regulators, Google said the crash took place in Mountain View on February 14th when a self-driving Lexus RX 450h sought to get around some sandbags in a wide lane. The autonomous vehicle was moving at less than 2 miles per hour while the bus was moving at about 15 miles per hour. The report said the vehicle and the test driver believed the bus would slow or allow the Google autonomous vehicle to continue. But 3 seconds later, as the Google car in autonomous mode re-entered the center of the lane, it struck the side of the bus, causing damage to the left front fender, front wheel, and a driver's side sensor. Google said in a statement on Monday that we clearly bear some responsibility because if our car had not moved, there would not have been a collision. That said, our test driver believed the bus was going to slow or stop to allow us to merge into traffic and that there would be sufficient space to do that. The Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority will investigate the circumstances of the incident. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Frustrated Superman fans told reporters Monday that the economically healthy and financially stable Daily Planet newspaper is now the most unrealistic aspect of the comic books universe, acknowledging that enjoying the adventures of a superhero that can fly, lift cars over his head, and shoot beams of light out of his eyes requires some suspension of disbelief. Longtime readers said even the comic's most exciting stories are regularly ruined by the implausibility of a thriving daily newspaper, whose advertising revenue and circulation numbers have not at all been threatened by a media landscape overtaken by laptops, smartphones, and aggregation websites.
Look, I could play along with Superman using his breath to freeze a volcano or clapping his hands together to cause some sort of sonic boom, but seeing images of a thriving Daily Planet newsroom not facing layoffs or dwindling home subscriptions just really takes me out of the story. No one in Metropolis has realized they could get news online faster and for free?
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Super Tuesday. You're listening to Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And James.
The number's 855-450-3733. We've been reporting on the numbers here this evening, and I'm not going to say there's a lot of surprises, but there's some things that may not have gone exactly the way that they were predicting. So I'm going to give you the rundown here real quick, and then Johnny Ray, I want to finish this the story you've got from LouRockwell.com about Trump and why the Republicans hate him.
Sure, the story is
in the media too. Everybody just hates Trump.
It's from antiwar.com and was reprinted.
Okay.
At LouRockwell.com.
Gotcha. So Alabama, they're calling it for Clinton and Trump. Alaska, you're not going to get numbers until midnight. Don't wait up for that. Arkansas, they're calling for Clinton. Trump's up, but not by much over Rubio, so they have not yet called it. And there's very little reporting in Arkansas. But they've when they call it, that's who's going to win. They don't generally get this wrong. Colorado, we don't have numbers for, and it's just the Democrats, and we'll see how that goes. Georgia, Clinton and Trump. Massachusetts, they've called it for Trump, and he's way ahead of Rubio, who's second. It's really close between Sanders and Clinton in Massachusetts. I got to say, I'm pulling for Sanders in Massachusetts. I'd love to see him get the northern states. Minnesota, nothing in yet. Oklahoma, strange Oklahoma, cruises over Trump with 40% of the votes in, and it's by about 3%. So it's a sizable lead, but they haven't called it for Cruz yet. Sanders is over Clinton with 11%, and they haven't called it for him yet either. So there's 40% reporting in both of those areas. That's pretty sizable. Tennessee, Clinton and Trump. You're going to hear that a lot this evening, by the way. Texas, Clinton and Cruz. Cruz was expected to take Texas. He's looks like about 11 points over Trump. So he couldn't even handily beat Trump in Texas. Vermont, Sanders, who's crushed Clinton, as he should, in his home state. And Trump is leading Kasich. They haven't called it for Trump yet, but he is still about 3 points ahead. Virginia, Trump and Clinton. And that's the lineup. Johnny Ray, why does everybody hate Donald Trump?
That's exactly the question being posed in this article by Justin Raimondo at antiwar.com. And I'm going to skip a bit because it's a very long article, and
he's a loquacious man.
Okay, I hope I don't miss anything too important. But I started off telling the story of these two Italian soldiers in World War I who said it is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep.
They attributed that to
misattributed to Mussolini, and then they used that as a trap, a Twitter trap for Donald Trump.
And it's happening over and over because the media has not caught themselves on this. And usually the media will do that at some point, but they're still saying it's a Mussolini quote.
But why? Going back to the article, but why? Why do they hate him with such ferocity? Where is all this vitriol coming from? David Stockman, former chief of the Office of Management and Budget under Ronald Reagan, nails it. Quote, "To be sure, there's much that is ugly, superficial, and stupid about Donald Trump's campaign platform, if you can call it that, or loose cannon oratory, to be more exact. More on that below. But at the heart of his appeal are two propositions which strike terror in the hearts of the imperial city's GOP operatives. To wit, he is loudly self-funding his own campaign and bombastically insisting that America is getting a bad deal everywhere in the world."
He's not entirely self-funding. I mean, he is. There are donate buttons at his website, and people have sent him millions of dollars. But you know,
I wonder if he takes Bitcoin.
The first of these propositions, the one that you just referenced, Mark, explicitly tells the legions of K Street lobbies to take a hike, thereby posing a mortal threat to the fundraising rackets which are the GOP's lifeblood.
And the Democratic Party, too.
And while the bad deal abroad is superficially about NAFTA and our $500 billion trade deficit with China, it is really an attack on the American imperium, which I assume means the same thing as American empire. Yeah. Maybe imperium is like the apparatus of empire.
He just writes stuff.
Okay, he's loquacious.
Yes.
The American people are sick and tired of the Lindsey Graham, John McCain, George Bush neocon wars of intervention and occupation, and they resent the massive fiscal burdens of our outmoded but still far-flung alliances, forward bases, and apparatus of security, assistance, and economic aid. They especially have no patience for the continued huge cost of our commitments to Cold War relics like NATO, the stationing of troops in South Korea, and the defense treaty with the incorrigible Japanese, who still blatantly rig their trade rules against American exports.
The Japanese does?
According
to
the
Chinese.
The Japanese.
Okay.
According to David Stockman.
They're pretty irrelevant these days, but all right.
In short, the Donald is tapping a nationalist, isolationist impulse that runs deep among a weary and economically precarious Main Street public.
I'd say that's true, that it's this sort of the isolationism is pretty populist. Pat Buchanan won here in New Hampshire at one point. I can't remember how many presidential runs ago it was, but yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of people who are like, you know what, America for Americans, and then screw the rest of them.
He's clever enough to articulate it in the bombast of what sounds like a crude trade protectionism. Yet if Pat Buchanan were to rewrite his speech, it would be more erudite and explicit about the folly of the American imperium, but the message would be the same. All this was on display during the Houston GOP debate, and yet its significance was lost amid all the histrionics. To begin with, look at this exchange between former AIPAC employee Wolf Blitzer, the moderator, and Trump. Blitzer, you said this about the ongoing conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians. I'm quoting you now. Let me be sort of a neutral guy. I don't want to say whose fault it is. I don't think it helps. Trump, right. Blitzer, here's the question. How do you remain neutral when the U.S. considers Israel to be America's closest ally in the Middle East? Trump, well, first of all, I don't think they do under President Obama because I think he's treated Israel horribly, all right? I think he's treated Israel horribly.
So here he plays one side, all right. Israel isn't getting a good enough deal from Obama. And I make deals, especially with, what was this quote here from, that we've got from the Louis Farrakhan article where Louis Farrakhan does everything but endorse Donald Trump? Quote from Donald Trump, referring to his speech in front of a Jewish audience. I'm a negotiator like you folks. Is there anyone in this room who doesn't negotiate deals, huh? I know you Jewish people, you like making deals and stuff. I'm like you. He's hilarious. He's so funny. I laughed out loud when I read that.
Trump, I was the Grand Marshal down Fifth Avenue a number of years ago for the Israeli Day Parade. I have very close ties to Israel. I've received the Tree of Life Award.
I love the Jewish people.
I've received the Tree of Life Award and many of the greatest awards given by Israel.
Hell, I'm circumcised. What?
As president, however, there's nothing that I would rather do to bring peace to Israel and its neighbors generally, and I think it serves no purpose to say that you have a good guy and a bad guy. Now, I may not be successful in doing it. It's probably the toughest negotiation anywhere in the world of any kind, okay?
Sure is.
But it doesn't help if I start saying I am very pro-Israel, very pro, more than anybody on this stage. But it doesn't do any good to start demeaning the neighbors, because I would love to do something with regard to negotiating peace, finally, for Israel and for their neighbors. And I can't do that as well as a negotiator. I cannot do that as well if I'm taking sides.
Yeah, that sounds perfectly plausible.
A little bit more. That is nothing short of remarkable, especially if one recalls the Mitt Romney-Barack Obama debate, in which both competed with the other in proclaiming their absolute fealty to Israel.
No, I love Israel. No, I love Israel.
And their refusal to even recognize that there are two sides to the issue. Marco Rubio was outraged by this unprecedented display of common sense and launched into one of his robo-responses, repeating word for word some editorial he'd probably read in Commentary or the Weekly Standard. And then in the course of it, he said something remarkably stupid. The Palestinians are not a real estate deal, Donald. But it is. It is a real estate deal, isn't it?
It's very much a real estate deal. 855-450-3733. Are you scared of a Trump presidency? 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Are you thinking about your Medicare benefits right now? You know, Original Medicare may not cover all of your needs, and the deadline to choose your plan is rapidly approaching. Plus, whatever Medicare plan you choose is locked in for a full year. So the wrong choice could cost you thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket costs. At Health Markets, we can help you find a plan to minimize those costs with one free phone call. You could spend hours doing all the research yourself, or our licensed agents can do it for you for free. Call Health Markets now for free help.
800-978-4818. 800-978-4818. 800-978-4818. Again, that's 800-978-4818. Health Markets Insurance Agency is a DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions, licensed in all 50 states and D.C. Service and product availability varies by state. Agents may be compensated based on your enrollment.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
In local news, 23-year-old graffiti artist Adam Zane has captured the heart of 19-year-old college sophomore Jessica Tisselow. Zane, who goes by the graffiti handle Slice, met Tisselow last summer at an annoyingly self-aware dive bar where the talentless artist caught Tisselow's eye with his cliched sleeve tattoos of trite Japanese imagery and the fact that he was wearing a winter hat indoors in the middle of June.
His art is really just the absolute worst. I think we're going to get married someday.
And now for This Week in Tech, brought to you by LG. An excited groom sends text messages to his buddies during his bride's vows, and a collection of VHS tapes are held onto for one more year. In other news, a burglar makes sure to crack the glass on a family portrait before leaving. There's nothing in the employee handbook about groping dead co-workers, an employee says, and a report finds that nobody's heard from David Blaine in a while, so somebody should probably check to see if he died in one of those things. Mere seconds have passed, yet we feel as though we've known you 1,000 lifetimes. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
SWCpoker.eu is Bitcoin Poker 2.0, where players can buy chips, play, and cash out anonymously with Bitcoin. No banking, just Bitcoin. Texas Hold'em, Omaha Hold'em, Draw, and many new games, including Chinese poker. SWC Poker gladly accepts players worldwide, and over 2 million hands of Bitcoin poker have been dealt at SWCpoker.eu. Bitcoin poker from the brand you trust. SWCpoker.eu.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Super Tuesday. Checking out the numbers during the break. Darryl W. Perry, Libertarian presidential candidate. What do you, Darryl? What do you call somebody who's running for the nomination of the Libertarian Party? Like, are you a candidate for president?
Yes, I'm a candidate. As much as Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and a couple of the other ones are candidates for the presidential nomination.
Okay, got it.
I'm a presidential candidate.
Gotcha. Okay. So talking the numbers here with him, he's come in. He's probably the wonkiest of us all here. Understands these numbers pretty well. I was kind of surprised to see that Cruz, they called Oklahoma for Cruz. It's close to Texas. It's like Texas's baseball cap, right? And I guess I was a little surprised. It's not by much, 34 to 30%, essentially. So he's up by about 4 points, maybe a little more.
Lincoln is the capital of Oklahoma.
Is that so? I would have thought it was Oklahoma City.
No, I believe it's Lincoln. I did a report on it in the 4th grade.
That doesn't make you right. It just makes you guessing. So somebody in Oklahoma's like, do you know what the hell you're talking about? Because to one of us. So, I would say it's let's just go through through what's called for here. Clinton and Trump, Virginia, Vermont. It's Sanders. I'm just going through the ones that they've called it for. Texas, it's Clinton and Cruz. Oklahoma, Sanders and Cruz.
Have you told us who the they is? Where is this? Politico.com or what?
Politico.com.
Okay.
Tennessee is Clinton and Trump. And Minnesota hasn't got its numbers in yet. Massachusetts, they've called for Trump, but nobody else at this point. Clinton and Trump in Georgia. And Arkansas is Clinton, and they haven't called it on the Republican side. Go ahead and finish up your story here from antiwar.com on why everybody hates Trump. I got my own reasons.
Trump has called for pulling U.S. troops out of Europe, where they've been sitting since the end of World War II.
Well, where would the cushy assignments go for the United States military if they didn't get to go over to Europe and drink beer with the German girls?
They shouldn't have those cushy assignments. They need to be digging latrines,
digging holes. You're the only veteran here in the on the air tonight.
They need to be cleaning floor tiles with toothbrushes.
Did you do much of that?
The type of punishment, the type of floor care styled punishment that we got was something called scuzzing the deck, where they would bring a garden hose out into the squad bay. We'd have to push all the racks, the beds, up against the wall, and then they'd turn that garden hose on and spray the floor, and we'd get these dirty old towels and line up in the downward dog position and run, holding the towels on the ground, cleaning the ground. They'd line us up all along the squad bay and spray the deck down, and then we'd run, on our on all fours.
The giant towel soldier squeegee pushing water towards the bathroom and down the drain, right?
Yes, and then when it was clean, we'd do it again, And then we do it again and again and again.
Yeah, you just keep doing it until they tell you to stop. Go ahead.
Trump has called for pulling U.S. troops out of Europe, et cetera, et cetera. He also questions what they have to be afraid of in Putin's Russia, declaring he could get along with the Russian leader, with the implicit assumption being they could get along with him.
Well, I'll tell you, Putin has made it pretty clear that he feels like he can get along with Trump, too.
Has he?
Yeah.
Indeed, Trump challenges every major new American incursion into regions where it doesn't belong: Syria, Ukraine, Libya. Trump represents a deadly challenge to the high command of the war party, the neoconservatives who lied us into war in Iraq and were called out for it by him. If Trump gets the Republican nomination, the neocons are through as a viable political force on the right. That's why National Review devoted a whole issue of their magazine to the theme, Against Trump. That's why the neocon allies in the media are going after him hammer and tongs. That's why neocons like Robert Kagan are openly declaring they will support Hillary Clinton.
Oh, God.
While others...
Well, if you're really into war as a good foreign policy solution, Clinton is your gal.
Yep. While others, including the formerly libertarian network of organizations funded by Charles and David Koch, are financing a Stop Trump campaign. There's even talk of the idea of running a third-party candidate in order to take votes away from Trump.
I suspect there could just as easily there will be a third-party candidate on the ballot in the person of Jill Stein, running likely for the Green Party. She ran the last time, and she did fine. She's going to embody in many ways what the Sanders supporters currently are for. So I think that you'll probably see whatever network there is, whatever Sanders network there is in place, many of them are probably going to try to steer people towards her. The Sanders supporters aren't going to be as vigilantly, two-party supporters as other voters might be. I still think plenty of them will be scared into voting for Clinton. She's obviously more like what they want than Trump, but I'm looking at these delegate numbers here, and I'm seeing the rest of the Republicans can just go home.
Sure. Final words from Justin Raimondo regarding Donald Trump. Don't be fooled. GOP bigwigs aren't afraid Trump will lose to Hillary. They're afraid he'll win.
I keep on seeing articles one side or the other as to the predictions of how he'll do against Clinton, and I think it's fascinating. I don't have a prediction. I don't know. I know he's the most polarizing figure running in the Republican primary, and I believe that any Republican besides Trump would handily sweep the floor with Clinton because of all her scandals and the ease of just negative campaigning against her. Trump, on the other hand, is he's sweeping the floor with the Republicans. I mean, you don't get I don't get to pick who I think is going to win. I just all I can do is report on it and sort of guess what I think is going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with a Trump Clinton matchup, but I'm seeing a likely Trump Clinton matchup when I'm looking at these delegates right now. I don't see numbers for Sanders that make me feel like he's going to somehow take it away from Clinton. Sorry. I prefer him over Clinton, but I don't see him taking it away from her. Not with all these. I don't see these super delegates being convinced that they need to switch sides.
Okay.
And there aren't any super delegates on the Republican side. It's just who wins and who loses. And Trump is, it looks like he's got 6 times the delegates right now that Rubio and Cruz basically have tied with each other. So, Carson and Kasich, I don't even know what those guys are doing in there at this point. Mm-hmm. I think seems like a foregone conclusion at this point who's going to win and who's going to lose.
Now, don't you think that? I think Trump would get a lot of votes though because he has a big brand. Everyone knows his name, so maybe he would beat Hillary.
He's got a lot of name recognition. It's not all positive by any stretch of the imagination, and when it comes to a general election. Name recognition is, I don't know. It's going to be a lot of negative campaigning. We'll see how it goes. A lot of people don't like what he said. He's got, Latins are a big segment of the vote. Are they going to be voting for Trump? 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Attention citizens. This man has received national attention for accurately predicting every major financial trend, including the market crash of 2008. His name is Harry Dent. And in his newly released book, he is making even bigger and bolder predictions that have the potential to devastate the world economy and your personal wealth. You can get a free copy of Harry Dent's bestseller, The Demographic Cliff, containing never-before-published information by simply visiting www.harrydentresearch.com. Again, that's www.harrydentresearch.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadavi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money. My safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
Stop the insanity of voting for the same old abusers. Declare your independence from the two-party system and join the New Hampshire Liberty Party today at nhliberty.info.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Talk Live, 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. A little late on that intro. Sorry about that, folks. It's Mark with you.
Jonny staked by his own petard Ray.
And James.
We're all sitting here listening, enwrapped to Darryl W. Perry's commentary here on the primary, and it's a big day. It looks like Trump's going to run away with it to me, and Clinton's. Yep, it looks like this is the day to me that the Trump and Clinton kind of sew it up. But you're welcome to give us a call on.
There could be
things.
an October surprise, couldn't there?
What would that be? There's always they always claim some kind of October surprise, but I don't think it's going to be. Usually, that's just between the two candidates at that point.
It'll be Bernie Sanders 2016.
Popping in as an independent, running as an independent.
Yeah, write-in campaign.
Well, I can't say that it would break my heart to see more options for the American public, but I've had enough of the talk about the primaries. So if you want to call in and talk about it, that's up to you. 855-450-3733. But I do want to talk about the South Dakota's governor vetoing a bill today that would have made the state the first in the U.S. to approve a law requiring transgendered students to use bathrooms and locker rooms that match their sex at birth. So this is an interesting question that's sort of become timely, right? Like 10 years ago, this wasn't a question that people were really asking. But now it's like, which potty do the folks that want to wear other folks' clothes would go, right? And this is where the rubber hits the road on this question. As far as I'm concerned, you can wear whatever clothes you want, but it does get a little complicated if some big, scary, muscle-bound guy just puts a wig on and says, I'm going to be a woman today, and wanders into the women's bathroom. It's going to be kind of not so great. The gals aren't going to like that.
But I got the menstrual cramps real hard.
Right. That it's going to be some funny guy is going to do this. I mean, let's be clear. So, but on the other side, do you want to send somebody who, transgendered folks, they're people. Some people feel like they've got a license to beat these people up, and I don't think it's such a hot idea to be sending them off into them. Some guy who's transitioning into a woman, to send him off into the men's bathroom. This is a tough question. Obviously, these family bathrooms, these third set of bathrooms, can help solve this problem.
It's a tough question for a democracy to solve, yes.
In most cases, I would think that you would, if a guy goes dressed up as a woman, goes into the women's bathroom and gets in a stall, does whatever he's going to do, then comes out, does whatever she's going to do, comes out, washes her hands, and leaves. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, right? Like nothing terrible's happened there. But whatever. Republican Governor Dennis Daugaard, who initially reacted positively to the proposal but said he needed to research the issue, rejected the bill after the American Civil Liberties Union, the Human Rights Campaign, insisted it was discriminatory. In his veto message, Daugaard said the bill does not address any pressing issue, and such decisions were best left to local school officials. I kind of think that it should be left to local school officials. I mean, doesn't it just sound like some Republican politician saying, hey, look at me, I made a bill that says the boys can't go in the girls' potty. And
He's making hay while the transgender sun is shining.
That's what it seems like. I've had friends, people I know, said those people are freaks. I mean, with as much vitriol in their voice as you could possibly imagine from somebody I wouldn't have imagined that from. And I mean, to me, I feel bad. I feel bad. I feel empathy for these folks. I don't know what their situation's like, or sympathy, whatever the term may be. I don't know what their situation's like. But if somebody's so dedicated to whatever it is that they're dedicated to, that they're willing to take the derision, the mocking of people, plus they're going to, lop their genitals off. Like, that's somebody who's thoroughly dedicated to whatever it is that they're dedicated to. Who am I to say? I mean, I'm not gonna bother that person. Just let them go about their business. I know a few transgendered folks, and they live their lives. They don't bother anybody. and I'm not going to bother them. I don't see any particular reason to do that. It's just not my business.
That's why politics is so stupid every time, because it's all about you getting into somebody else's business.
Yeah.
And you don't need a bill. You just need to burn down all the public schools. And if you want to go to school, if you want your children to go to school, you pay for your child to go to school, and you can send them to the one that has the transgender toilet selection that you approve of. Competition in the marketplace is how we decide as collectives how to go forward, is by spending our own money on things, putting our money where our mouth is. And you don't have to decide, you don't have to have a governor or whatever tell you which toilet all the transgenders go to. You can just have it on your own private property. You can decide how you want it to be done.
You're exactly right, Johnny Ray. So if you want to send your kid to the school that says, God made you a boy, you go in the boys' bathroom. God made you a girl, you go in the girls' bathroom. God made you a hermaphrodite, you don't come here. Right? Like, I mean, you can send your kid to that school, and that's your business. Or you can send your kid to the school that has 9 different options for bathrooms.
Or just one. I think it's time for the unisex bathroom.
I think it's a terrible idea.
It's to me, it's like it's a non-issue. Like who cares? Like who? I guess, does it bother me like who I'm going to the bathroom with? Like that doesn't bother me.
I don't. Okay, so I would
mean,
say,
maybe if I had children, maybe I'd be concerned then.
I don't think it's the children as much as just the gals.
Women produce extra fluids that men do not, and they smell.
Well, that's I think most guys are just like, I don't care. But I think the gals feel somewhat threatened. If you've got some big 450-pound dude shuffling around the bathroom, the gals are they're just not going to like that. Mm-hmm. It's going to make them feel uncomfortable. And they want their potty.
Yeah, but that guy's going to be interacting with them in general society. So, like, what's the difference?
Yeah, but they don't have their drawers down then.
Well, yeah, that's a big difference, James.
Like, imagine if it's all stalls.
Their whole lives being told what's in their drawers is really, really important. Right? You're living your whole life being told it's not. So I can see why they feel that way. What? Have I messed it up again?
But speaking personally, I think that if you're gonna change your sex, and then you got to, if you're a man and you want to be a woman, you have to go to the men's room, because you're asking for it. If you get beat for it, it's your own fault.
Hold on. Run that by me again. Who's getting beat going where?
All right. I have got my own school, and in the bathrooms at my school, at Johnny Ray Middle School, serving the 6th and 7th graders of
Johnny Ray's School for Wayward Women. I gotcha.
You will go into the bathroom that is for the gender that is on your birth certificate. And if you are a man and you want to dress as a woman and you go into the men's room and you get beat up for it, yeah, okay. You better be a boy named Sue.
Oh, God. Well, that wouldn't be how I'd run my school, but then again, nobody's going to put me in charge of a school. So there you go. The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. What do you think about Johnny Ray's school?
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Tuesday, gold is up $10 at $1,240 per ounce. Silver is 2 cents lower at $14.94 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $433 US. Gold had its best month in the past 4 years, and year-to-date is up 17%, which is exactly why you should consider buying silver. Call me and I can explain. 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Super Tuesday. It's the live Super Tuesday event here on Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And James.
The number's 855-450-3733. The fat lady, she's clearing her throat. She's warming up. She's doing her scales. Me, 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 me. And we'll get some of the more final numbers here in a few minutes. Let's go to Mike calling in from Maryland. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing?
All's well, sir.
I listened to you guys quite a lot.
Excellent.
And I'm always trying to figure out exactly what you would find to be ideal, I guess, politically in our world. Like you don't seem to be. I mean, you throw the term anarchy around a lot. If we had anarchy, we'd have like mob rules and total violent world, and it would take us hundreds of years, if ever, to be able to get to the point where we have the freedoms that we have now. I don't like our government, that much. But, you never want to support somebody like right now you're willing to vote for a guy with a boot on his head other than any of these other candidates. And I think some of them are going in the right direction. I don't know that you can trust any of them, but, I liked Rand Paul a lot. However, he's gone now, but you guys didn't want to even mention his name hardly on the show.
Well, you're lumping us all together, and that's the real difficulty. Rand Paul.
I know, and
guy.
you're all different.
Yeah.
I know, you're all different. I can't keep track of all of you, but
I
mean,
get, that's a difficulty with the show, Mike. I 100% agree with you. Is this show is different than the rest of the shows out there. The rest of the shows give you sort of a homogenized view of the issues. You wouldn't have Stewie on the Glenn Beck show disagreeing with Glenn Beck on a political issue for very long. Those, he'd have to get on board or zip it, right?
Yeah.
Here on Free Talk Live, though, we actually. It's okay for me to have a different opinion than Ian. I would make Ian say pretty much every time he talked about Rand Paul that he considered him the best candidate running for president. But you're right. He it obviously stuck in his mouth when he said it.
But I mean, do you really want anarchy?
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about.
So, anarchy is a really tough word, and you'll rarely hear me use it. Some of the co-hosts will toss it about. First off, anarchy means different things to different people. So there's this sort of academic understanding of what that term means. I find it to be confusing and therefore a bad idea. However, I would ask this question: what service does the government provide that the marketplace couldn't provide better?
I agree, and that's why it needs to be as small as possible.
That's all that an anarchist of at least of the sort of the bend, what we call voluntarists here on Free Talk Live, a hardline libertarian. That's all they're saying is that whatever it is you're talking about, whether it's cops, courts, roads, soldiers, the FAA. Whatever it is.
Space exploration.
Space exploration is a really good example because when we started the show 12 years ago, I love NASA. Right? Like at that time, I loved NASA. NASA's awesome. They send people to the moon, for God's sake. That's really cool. But there wasn't any free market space exploration. Now it's all over the place. It's a foregone conclusion that the free market can provide space exploration at a significantly better rate than the government can. So why, I would ask this, Mike, why can't the free market provide policing services at a better, far more efficient way than the government can? Why can't it provide protection services on an sort of an international scale better? I don't know, but I think that people should be allowed to try it out. People should be able to opt out of our system and try things on their own, even if I'm not willing to opt out with them. I'm not exactly prepared to just sort of run off into the wilderness and create my own city with a bunch of people who seem to want to run around naked and smoke pot. I don't want to do that. But
isn't that what you're doing up there in the Shire?
There are
some people doing that, but I don't know. I guess what I would support.
That's the reason I want to come up there.
Well, come out to Porkfest. You will see some things you've never seen before, buddy.
I mean, I guess I would say that I support like more choice. There should be, you should be able to choose like what kind of government that you want. And right now, you don't really have that option. You're forced into, participating in something you don't want to because there's not enough options. Like, and I think people get confused. Like libertarians, I don't think we're against rules. Like, I have a lease and I think the rules are great. I think that there should be rules against
It's a governing document, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You have a government that you opted into.
I think insurance documents are great. I pay a little bit of money and it protects me against whatever. What I'm asking for is competition in the areas of policing, of justice. Like, just ask yourself, here's a small example. So bouncers have a very, very difficult job. Like, they deal with drunk a-holes on a constant basis. And you can, just go try to find videos of bouncers beating up people. It's hard because they're held responsible. If they beat the crap out of someone, they're going to be in big trouble. But you can find you can find thousands of videos of police beating up people because they are not responsible.
I agree with you.
I think that
Mike,
just having that private security is such a better option.
Mike, I want to thank you for calling in and asking your questions. And this is really, these are the kind of questions that we really appreciate. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and one more point. I won't say all of you, but seems like if a few of you are against any kind of like closed borders, I think we should have sovereignty. I think it's important. There's too many people that want to get here and then change everything. And change is okay. I'm not against any change, but but just like you're talking about, bouncers have a job, and it's an important job.
If we had more options, Mike, you could live in an area where they had closed borders. That'd be an option for you.
I think that
open borders.
Open borders is complicated. I agree with you, but that also has value in the area of sort of creating it's better economically for a lot of people. Now, would basically all of Central America come up here? Maybe not. You got to ask yourself, why do people live in Mississippi when they could move to New York City, where the standard of living is significantly higher? And I don't have a good answer for that. What's that?
Expensive and they don't have any money.
It's expensive to live in America, and they don't have any money to come up here. So maybe they wouldn't come across the border. I would say the best solution for an open border is to open it up and not give any kind of welfare assistance at all. Not free schooling, not free nothing to anybody who comes. And then only the people who want to work hard would come.
Yeah, that's true.
America's a big place, too.
I have no problem with policy now, even though our laws don't dictate it. And I'm okay with just enforcing the laws that we have. I think that's worthy. But anyway, I'll let you go.
Thanks,
appreciate
Mike.
letting me on. All right.
855-450-3733. Let me run through the numbers here so we can give the final tally on our Super Tuesday evening. Virginia, Clinton, Trump. Vermont, Sanders. Trump's on top, but they haven't called it for him. There's less than a 2 points separating him from Kasich. Well, Kasich could win a state before he drops out. Clinton and Cruz in Texas. Cruz is up over 10 points over Trump, but he still hasn't hit that 50% that's supposed to be the magic number. Tennessee, Clinton and Trump called for. Oklahoma, Sanders and Cruz. Minnesota has actually got some numbers in now. Clinton's up a little bit over Sanders, but very little reporting. Massachusetts, they still haven't called it for Clinton. Clinton's slightly over Sanders in Massachusetts. They called it for Trump. Georgia, Clinton and Trump. You're going to hear that a lot. The delegate numbers here are amazing for Trump and Clinton. Pretty much over there. Colorado, Sanders over Clinton. They haven't called it, though. Still a small amount reporting. Arkansas called for Clinton. Well, what a surprise. Her husband was the governor there. Trump is over Cruz, but not by enough to get reported, and not enough to get locked up. Alaska, we got nothing in yet. That'll be midnight. And Alabama, Clinton and Trump. These numbers kind of say it all, folks. I'm refreshing the delegate tracker here. And the bar graphs, they tell a story that it's going to be very difficult for Cruz or Sanders to pull out of. What do you guys think? Clinton and Trump?
Yeah, Clinton and Trump 2016. Wait a minute. When is it? When is the general election?
The general election
is in 2016.
Yeah,
this year.
Yeah, it's always every 4 years. So it's
President Trump.
Yeah, November 2016. It'll be the first Tuesday.
I wanted to say a few words about anarchy. May I?
Yeah, go ahead. You got a minute.
Well, government is supposed to keep us safe, right? But there's a story that I was reading about some rapes this morning, and a woman was raped, and the man could not be prosecuted because he threatened her, so she refused to testify against him. He was caught, luckily, by raping somebody else, so then they could put a case against him, throw him in jail, but he's going to get out of jail, and he's going to rape again. Now, in my no-government world, rapists get shot. Thank you. Amen.
There you go. Check us out in the meantime on our Facebook page, facebook.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The new 4th edition